Good day, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in your part of the world. This is King B News and Views with another video. So let's see what's going on in Asia. You see the title. Asia's deadly heat wave was made 45 times more likely for this reason. And it is hot out there. Yesterday, we had a major corona mass ejection that just missed us. You know, and they say if Earth would have been hit by this CME, it could have been another Cavington event. If you've never heard of the Cavington event, look up the Cavington event. Happened, I believe, in September 1859. I believe the year was. All right, did a lot of damage. Knocked out radios, caused some fires. Right, so we had a major one that just missed us yesterday. I'm gonna, after I read this article, go over to space weather and see what the sun is looking like today. But let's get into this article, see what's happening in Asia. Hundreds of people died across Asia in recent weeks as the region sweltered under blistering temperatures, and a new study determined the leading factor in how it all happened. Last month, many areas in India saw temperatures well above triple digits. The country's meteorological service says that heat waves are not uncommon between March and June, with May being the peak month for the extreme weather event. In Bagdora, India, last month, temperatures hit nearly 115 degrees Fahrenheit as the India Meteorological Department issued a red alert warning, meaning that severe heat was expected to persist for more than 2 days, and there was a very high likelihood for heat-related illnesses. And by the way, this article was released 25 minutes ago from CBS News. Let's continue with this article. Elsewhere in the country, it was so hot that schools were canceled, an issue that people also faced in the Philippines. People in Thailand were also asked by officials to stay indoors when possible to avoid the heat, as dozens of people had already died from heat-related illnesses. According to the Associated Press, the April heat killed at least 28 people in Bangladesh, 5 in India, and 3 in Gaza. And according to the organization World Weather Attribution, it all comes down to 2 words: climate change. And you see a picture there of a man cooling himself off with some much needed water. The heat wave exacerbated already precarious conditions faced by internally displaced people, migrants, and those in refugee camps and conflict zones across West Asia, a new study from the organization said. The extreme heat has forced thousands of schools to close down in South and Southeast Asia. Researchers said that while the kind of heat experienced during this time is not very rare, it's only being amplified by climate change, which is fueled by global warming largely caused by the burning of fossil fuels. West Asia is anticipated to get an extreme heat event once a decade, and in the Philippines, that likelihood is even less, about once every 20 years when El Nino isn't at play. In Southeast Asia at large, extreme heat is not common. Oh, those are some big blocks of ice right there. Look at that. It says a man unloads blocks of ice from a truck during high temperatures in Bangkok, Thailand. That'll definitely help when you're dealing with extreme temperatures. An extreme warm April, such as this one, is a somewhat rare event with a 3% probability of happening in a given year, or once every 30 years, researchers said, adding that observations and data models show that human-caused climate change creates a strong increase in likelihood and intensity. In the Philippines, the change in likelihood is so large that the event would have been impossible without human-caused climate change, they said. In West Asia, climate change increased the probability of the event by about a factor of 5. The average April temperatures in South Asia, which the group has studied twice in the last 2 years from other extreme events, are now about 45 times more likely and 0.85 degrees Celsius hotter, they found. Sounds like a broken record, yes, but heat is still underrecorded, and extremely deadly. Frederick Otto, who is part of the World Weather Attribution Studies, said on social media, "The world is not prepared for today's climate change, let alone the future. Extreme heat is becoming the silent killer," Cole Barrett, Deputy Secretary General of the World Meteorological Organization, said in April. Heat-related mortality is widely underreported, and so the true scale of premature deaths and economic costs in terms of reduced labor productivity, agricultural losses, and stress on the power grid is not accurately reflected in the statistics, he said. The report from the World Weather Attribution came a day ahead of another report from the WMO that found this April was the warmest one on record and the 11th consecutive month of record temperature worldwide. The average surface air temperature last month was 15.03 degrees Celsius, about 59 degrees Fahrenheit, more than 1.5 degrees Celsius warmer than pre-industrial times. Scientists have warned that if the planet experiences persistent temperatures at that 1.5 threshold, it could cause significant impacts on weather events, leading to global issues surrounding food and water availability, migration, and infrastructure. The record temperatures were accompanied by high-impact weather events, including intense heat in many parts of Asia, the WMO said. The heat also had a large impact on agriculture, causing crop damage and reduced yields, as well as on education, with holidays having to be extended and schools closed in several countries, affecting millions of students. It would take years of this continued breaching of 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels for the planet to officially mean humans have failed to achieve the goals of the Paris Agreement and launched the world into a more disastrous climate era. However, 11 months of record heat and potentially beyond indicates early signs of getting perilously close to exceeding the long-term limit, the United Nations says. Every fraction of a degree of warming matters. With every additional increment of global warming, changes in extremes and risks become larger, the international agency says. We need to bend the global emissions curve and the production and consumption of coal, oil, and gas downwards starting now. A wide range of solutions exists. Well, one thing they're not mentioning in this article, they mention fossil fuels. They're talking about coal, oil and gas. But one thing they're not talking about, or they haven't mentioned, is, if I can get to it, is this. All right. So I'm on spaceweather.gov. All right. Let me. This is spaceweather.gov. Right, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA for short. There's another space weather website. That's the other website is spaceweather.com. This is spaceweather.gov. All right, and this is showing a coronal mass ejection. You click on it again, and this is today. No, this is yet. It's showing yesterday and into today. I don't go on this website too often. But this is showing a CME, or coronal mass ejection. Major ejection right there. See that? And there. And this is the concern, right? That dark circle right there. That's coming from the satellite or the camera. It's blocking the sun so it does not damage the satellite or the camera on the satellite. But this is what we're dealing with. All right. Right here and right there will be planets. All right, so that's what we're facing. And we've been getting a lot of CMEs, coronal mass ejection, coming off the sun. That article did not mention that. It doesn't really have so much to do with fossil fuels. It have to do with the sun being active, right? That's what it have to do with. They didn't mention that. But you can go on this website, spaceweather.gov, and click around on it, and there's another one that's showing the sun. Wait for it to load. And you click play, and it'll play it. Another CME right there, just popped off, is showing. You got some and you got some people who really break this down, as far as what we're looking at here. Mr. MBB33 is one who goes on there and do a great job of breaking this down. Also, Wages World is another YouTuber that do a great job of breaking this down, and there's many others who can explain it better than I can as far as what we're looking at here. But you can go on here yourself, spaceweather.gov, and poke around. And right here shows, this one showing the aurora. It's an aurora forecast. Make that bigger. And that shows the aurora forecast. So spaceweather.gov, you can go in here and poke around. And they got charts here. Goes X-ray flux. Goes proton flux. And you could just poke around and look around for yourself and see what it says. Let's go to the other one, spaceweather.com. This is the other website. The first one was spaceweather.gov. This website is spaceweather.com. All right, and this was yesterday, that major X-flare, and it says strongest solar flare of the current cycle. Yesterday, May 14th, sunspot AR3664 unleashed the strongest solar flare of the current solar cycle, an X8.7 category blast from beyond the sun's western limb. X marks the spot in this image from NASA Solar Dynamics Observatory, and that's what they're talking about right there. See that? See that X? See it? That was the solar flare, and they said that one just missed us. It says because the sunspot is behind the edge of the solar disk, the flare was partially eclipsed. It was probably even stronger than it appeared. X 8.7 is almost certainly an underestimate of the flare's true strength. Extreme ultraviolet radiation from the flare ionized the top of Earth's atmosphere, causing a deep shortwave radio blackout over the Americas. Ham radio operators, aviators, and mariners may have noticed a sudden loss of signal at all frequencies below 30 megahertz. Solar flare alerts. Yeah, so that's a breakdown of yesterday. That solar flare yesterday that just missed us. You know, it was partially eclipsed, and you know. So that's what that article. Going back to the article, that's what that article did not mention. It didn't mention anything about the sun, right? You know, it doesn't so much have anything to do with fossil fuels and you know, like the article says, it has to do with what's going on above us. And that's what we need to keep an eye on. So for you people out there, you may want to really keep your eye on and pay attention to the elderly. Make sure they have plenty of water and they're keeping cool. Also, your pets have plenty of water. You know, your pets are cool and protected. And you yourself, make sure you're drinking plenty of water. You know, because it's hot out there. It's going to get hotter, and you know, and you really have to protect yourselves out there. But anyway, that's all I got for this video. Like I always say, love yourself unconditionally. Keep your loved ones close. Pay attention to what's happening around you. All right? Protect the babies, protect the children at all costs. Protect our women, especially our natural-born women. Shout out to all the natural-born women out there. All right? Stay prepared so that whatever you may face, whatever circumstances you may have to deal with, you are prepared for it. This is King B News and Views. Until the next video, peace.